Hello, everyone. I'm Frank, and welcome to episode 19 of Learn How to Sudoku, where we take very easy variant Sudoku puzzles and try to break them down into detail so that you can learn how to Sudoku. Today's very easy puzzle is called Mr. Owl, and it's by Will Power. And here are the rules. Boy, Mr. Owl, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? Mr. Owl, let's find out. A one, a two, a three, crunch. Three. This was a very old ad that I saw as a child. I always thought it was really cool. Actually, it was very funny for me. But yeah, it's very brings back memories. And I think this is a view of Mr. Owl licking the Tootsie Pop, and then I don't know. I don't see it biting, but this looks like sort of a Mr. Owl like person. And I think these are the glasses that he had. Anyways, on to the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply, which means place the digits 1 through 9 once each in every row, column, and box. Arrows. Numbers on arrows sum to the number in the arrow's circle. Numbers may repeat on arrows if other rules allow. So, for example, these 4 digits must equal to what this is. Same with these 4 digits, because this is considered a separate arrow. It must add up to what this digit is. And similarly with this, and similarly with this. Let's see. And that's how arrows work. Thermometers. Numbers on thermometers increase from the bulb end. So basically, on thermometers, you always have, as an example, this could be like 1, 2, 1, 3, and this would have to be an 8 for this arrow to work. Let's see. What else do we have? Oh wait, no, this would not be 8. This would be 7. This sometimes you have to make sure you calculate it correctly. So yeah, this would be 7. 1, 1, 2, and 3 adds up to 7. That's an example of an arrow. Thermometers, numbers on thermometers increase from the bulb end. So on a thermometer, you always will have increasing numbers from the bulb to the tip. So an example of this here would be like 2, 5, and 7. Yeah, that would work because it's always increasing from the bulb to the next number all the way to the tip. Something like 6, 5, 7 would not work because 5 is less than 6. So that breaks the thermometer there. And that's how thermometers works. Killer cages. Numbers in cages sum to 9. Okay, that's not the typical rule. Usually it's, but basically, since in this cage, all the numbers sum to 9, all the cages have 9 in the upper left corner, all the digits in that cage must sum to that value. So as an example, if this were a 3, this would have to be a 6 because those 2 digits must add up to 9. And that's how killer cages work. Crop key pairs. Numbers with a white dot between them are consecutive, and not all possible dots are shown. So, for example, if this were a 3, this would have to be a 2 or a 4 to basically make sure that the 2 cells that the dot is in between are consecutive. And that's how crop key pairs work. And those are all the rules. If you'd like to play along, there's going to be a link in the description. And now, I'm going to get started. Let's learn how to Sudoku. Okay, so the first thing I would do in this puzzle, let's see, we have 4 digits that must be, we have 4 digits in this row and 3 digits in this row that if you take, well, what's the minimum you can have for these digits is the question that I would be asking, right? The minimum here would be 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? If you double count this cell, what's the minimum possible in these 3 cells? So this would be adding up to 10. The minimum in these cells, if you double count, would be 1 twice, counted twice, because remember, it's counted once going this way and once going this way. It's 1, 1, 2, and 3, which adds up to 7, as I miscounted before earlier. So this is 10. These 4 digits at minimum add up to 10. And these 3 digits with this one counted twice adds up to 7. So if you add up this arrow going this way and you add up the arrow going this way, first of all, it would be 2 times whatever this value is. So we would have to divide whatever the value is here, and the minimum would be essentially 10, 1, 2, 3, 4 for the first row, and 1, 2, and 3, 1, 1, 2, and 3 for the next row. That's 7. So that's 17 is the minimum we could have for 2 times this value. But the thing is, obviously, 2 times this value can never be a non-integer. So we would have to round up specifically to get the minimum value. So you have 17 divided by 2. That would be 8.5 is the minimum value this could ever be. But obviously, you can't have a half as a value in a Sudoku, in a normal Sudoku. So basically, you would have to round up. So therefore, that forces this to be a 9. And we know that this adds up to 10 or 11, and this adds up to 7 or 8. Because of that, we know this has to be 1, 2, 3, and then it's either 4 or 5. And this has to be, it could be 1 doubled, or it could be with 2 and 5 as a possibility. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Or this could be a 2. And what do we have there? That would be 2 is doubled. So this would have to be 10. And then this would have to be 8, right? Because the 2 is doubled, we have 8 minus 4. Therefore, this would add up to 4, and this would be 1, 3. And that's similar for these arrows, and it must be the same for these arrows, right? So this must be 1 or 2. This is 1 through 5. This is 1 through 5. These are 1 through 5. So we know these cannot be 1, 2, or 3. This cannot be 1, 2, or 3. This is 4, 5, or 6 as a possibility. And those are the only possibilities you can have there, because obviously if you have 3 digits adding up to 9, what's the maximum number you could have? Well, it's 1 and 2 as the lowest numbers with 6, which adds up to 9. Therefore, this has to be 4, 5, or 6. Now, the thing is, if you have a 4, a 5, and a 6, what do the other 2 digits on the 9 have to be? In the 9 that add up, if you have 3 cells that add up to 9, and one of them is 4, 5, or 6, what do the other cells have to add up to? What do the other cells have to be, actually? If this is 4, this would have to be with 2 or 3. If this is 5, it would have to be with 1 or 3. And if it's 6, it would have to be with 1 or 2. Well, the thing is, what we know here is that these two are consecutive. So if you have 5, you would have to have 1 or 3 here, but that's not allowed because that's not consecutive with 5. If you have 6, you would have to have 1 or 2 here, but that's not allowed because it's not consecutive with 6. Therefore, this must be a 4, which is consecutive with 3, which makes this a 2. Therefore, these 4 digits must add up to, at minimum, 11. And since they add up to 11 at minimum, we know that this has to be doubled once, and it's 1. That adds up to, this has to add up to 7 specifically. So this must be 1, 3, or 5. This is 1 or 5, and this is 1, 3, or 5, right? Because these 4 digits add up to 11. This is at minimum 7, so that's 18 right there. Therefore, this must be 1, and this must be 2 or 3, and this must be 2 or 3. Now, since this is a 1, this has to be 2, which forces this set of 3 digits with this doubled twice to be at minimum 8. And this is at minimum 10 again. So therefore, we know this specifically has to be 8 with 10, right? Because that adds up to 18 at minimum. And this is and that's the maximum. That's the exact value we have. And there's only one way to basically make sure that that's the case. So therefore, this is 1 or 3. This is 1 or 3. And these cannot be 5. This can't be a 2 specifically. So now these have to be 5 at least. Actually, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple in row 7. So the rest of the row cannot contain 1, 2, 3, or 4. So they have to be 5 through 9. This has to be 5 through 8 because we already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 on that column. This is also 5 through 8. This is 5 through 8 also, and this is 5 through 8. Actually, so on thermometers, what I usually like to do is count down from the tip back to the bulb and then back out again by counting down what the maximum value are going to the bulb and then seeing what the minimum value can be and then counting up to the tip. So I like doing 9, 8. This has to be 7 at most because this requires 2 digits that are greater than it. Similarly with this thermometer, it would be 9, 8, and this would be 7 at most. Now the minimum here is 5 because of the 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple. Therefore, this has to be 5 at minimum, so this is 6 at minimum, which makes that 7 at minimum, and then we can fill out with the rest of what these cells can be. Similarly, this is 6 or 7 or 8. This has to be 7, 8, or 9. Okay. Also, this is 4, so similarly, this could be 9, 8, 7 down to the 4. And this could be 9, 8, 7 down to the 4. Now this is 4, so therefore this is at minimum 5. So it could be 5, 6, or 7. This is at minimum 6. It could be 6, 7, 8. And this is at minimum 7. So it's 7, 8, or 9. Similarly, this side is the same because of symmetry. So we know this is 7, 8, 9. This is 7, 8, 9. Again, this has to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in these 5 cells. So that makes this 6 through 9 and this 6 through 9. Okay. Let's see. What else can this be? So since this is a 7, 8, 9, this can never be 7. Because if this is 7, that forces the next digit on the thermometer to be 8. And the last digit to be 9. Which eliminates all possibilities for this cell. So this can never be 7. Similarly with this can't be 7 because we have a similar cell in the column in row 3. So this can't be 7. We now have a 5, 6, 5, 6 pair in row 7 too. So the rest of the row cannot contain 5 or 6. So this has to be 7 or 8. This is 7, 8, or 9. This is 7, 8, or 9. Okay, what else do we have here? These three cells add up to 9. They cannot have a 1 and therefore there's three unique digits that add up to 9. It's either 126, 135, or 234. But if this is one if this were 135, that would break what this cell is because this has to be a 1 or a 3. And that would eliminate all possibilities if this is 135. Therefore, and also we know again, so it's 126, 135, or 234. 135 is ruled out. So now we have 126 and 234 as possibilities. We have a 2-3-2-3 pair in row 4, so the rest of the row cannot contain 2 or 3, and we already have a 1 there, so that can't contain a 1. So again, this has to be 4, 5, or 6, but it cannot be 5 again because we would have to have a 1 and 3 with it, which would eliminate all possibilities for this cell. So this is 4 or 6, and then this has to be 1, 2, or 3 with it. Let's see, what else do we have here? These two digits must add up to what this is. So this is at minimum. Hmm. Um, this is 1, 2, or 3. Actually, can it ever be not 3? If this were 3, this has to be 2. So say this is not 3. Say this is a 2. If this is 2, that would force that to be a 3, which would force that to be 1, which would force that to be 3. So 3 always has to be one of these two cells. And it has to be always one of these two cells. Similarly, that's the X-wing. That's the way that works. Because we have the 3 could be here with another digit. And it's the same 2-3 pair here. This is a 1-3 pair here. Therefore, the 3 has to be either one of these two cells in row. Because the 3 has to be one of these two cells in row 4 and row 6, that would mean that in specifically box 4 and box 6, the 3 has to be one of these two cells and then one of these two cells. So this can never be a 3, actually, because this is always a 3. And because we know there's always a 3 in rows 4 and 6, in boxes 4 and 6, and okay, so I'm calling this box 4 and box 6 because that's normal Sudoku convention. We usually label the boxes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 because that's how most Westerners read, from top to bottom and from left to right. So in boxes 4 and 6, the 3 must be in row 4 and row 6, which eliminates 3s from the rest of row 4 and row 6. So this cannot be 3 and this cannot be 3. Where is the 3 in box 5? It has to be one of these two cells, which means there has to be a 6 in one of these two cells, but we're not sure which. So this could be 3 or 6, and this could be 3 or 6. Okay, we have these two digits adding up to this one. So this is 1 through 7 possible to be adding up to 8. But if this were 7, this would have to be an 8, which would eliminate all possibilities here. So that's not allowed. Therefore, this can never be 7. This has to be 5 through 8 also. This is 5 through 8. Okay. If this is already adds up to 3 here. So this must add up to 6. Is that correct? Yeah, 9 minus 3 is 6. So this is 2 or 3. If it's 2, it can't add up to 6. So this must be 3, which makes this 1 and that 3. Therefore, this has to be 2. This has to be 3 and 3, adding up to 6. Therefore, this can't be 3. This must be 1 and 5. So that's 6 plus 2 and 1, which is 6. This can no longer be 2, so this must be 1, which makes this a 6. So this cannot be 6. This cannot be 6. Since this can't be 6, this can no longer be 3. Where's a 3 in box 5? It has to be this cell. So this is 3, which makes that a 6. This can no longer be 6, which means this can't be 7. This can't be 3. We have a 7, 8, 9 triplet in row 3, which eliminates 7, 8, 9 from the rest of the cells in that row. So this can't be 7, 8, and 9. This has to be a 6 along row 3, whereas the 7, it has to be one of these two cells. Because it's one of those two cells, that means in box 1, 7 cannot appear in any other cell. So therefore, this can't be 7 here. We have a 6 here, a 6 here. Therefore, the 6 must be along one of these 3 cells. It must be one of these 2, actually. Let's see. This can no longer be 1, 8. It cannot be 3, 6. And it cannot be 2, 7 because the 2 can't be here and the 2 can't be here. The 1 can't be here because of this 1, and the 3, 6 eliminates that as 3, 6. Therefore, this must be 4 and 5. What is the rest of the cells in row 5? It must be 7 or 8 here, and this must be 2, 7, or 8. Okay. So then what do we have? We have a 7, 8, 9 triplet in column 2, which this 7, 8, 9, this 7, 8, and this 7, 8, 9. That eliminates 7, 8, and 9 from the rest of the column. So this can't be 7 or 8, so this must be 6, which makes this a 5, which means this can't be 5. This has to be a 6, so this can no longer be 6. And this can no longer be 7, because this has to be at minimum 7 or 8. These can't be 6 anymore, and this can't be 5. This cannot be 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, 2, or 3, so this must be 1, 4 specifically. We have a 1, 4, 1, 4 pair in box 1, so therefore the rest of the box cannot contain a 1 or a 4. That makes this a 5, which makes that a 1. This 5 means this has to be a 4, which means that's a 5. So now this can no longer be 4. This can't be 4. These both can't be 1, and this can't be 5. Okay. This can no longer be 7. Oh, these are consecutive too, actually. So if this is 1, this would have to be 2, but then that would have to add up to 3, which is not allowed. So this cannot be 1. This could be 2 and 3 consecutive, and that adds up to 5. Or it could be 3, 4 consecutive, which adds up to 7. So that's possible. So 7 is not allowed here. This has to be 5 or 7, and we know one of these two digits is a 3. Because only these have to be consecutive, so it's either 2, 3, or it's 3, 4. Let's see, what else do we know? We know that these two digits must add up to 4, because these two digits add up to 5, and this must add up to 9 in total. And 9 minus 5 is 4. And we have 2 digits adding up to 4. The only way you can have 2 digits adding up to 4 is if you have 1 and 3. Those are, 2 unique digits adding up to 4 is 1 and 3. And that's in normal Sudoku. There are other variants that do allow other ways to add up to 4, but this is not one of them. Therefore, this must be 1 and 3 specifically. This can no longer be 3. That makes this a 3. This can't be 1 or 3, so it must be 4, which means that can't be 2, 1 or 4, so it must be 2. Okay, we have an 8, 9, 8, 9 pair in column 8, which eliminates 8 and 9 from the rest of the column. Therefore, this can't be 8. This must be a 7. This can't be 7 or 8. Therefore, it must be a 2. So this can't be 2. This can't be 2. This can't be 7, which makes that a 5. And therefore, this must be 2 and 3 adding up to 5. This can't be 5 now. And this can't be 5. Therefore, this is an 8, 9, 8, 9 pair again. So this must be 4 and 5 here. And 7 can no longer be here. Let's see, what else do we have here? We have a 5, 6, 7, 8 quadruple in row 2. That means those 4 cells must have a 5, 6, 7, or an 8. So therefore, you cannot have a 5, 6, 7, or 8 outside of those quadruples on that row. So that eliminates 5, 6, 7, 8 from the rest of the row. So this is a 4, this is a 5. This can't be a 4 anymore, so this must be 1, which makes that a 4. So the last 2 outside must be 2 and 9. So this is 2 or 9, and this is 2 or 9. Okay, what else do we have? 5, where's the 5 in box 4? It cannot be any of these cells, or these cells, so it must be here. So this is a 5. Let's see. Where's the, okay, so where is the 3 in box 1? Cannot be here because of these 3s, and can't be here and here because of those 3s. Therefore, this must be a 3. Similarly, with 3 in the corner, we celebrate. And I think we have another 3 in the corner because of the way these 3s interact. Yep. So these 3s eliminate these cells from having a 3. And these 3s eliminate these cells from having a 3. Whereas a 3 in box 9, it can only be here, and we will celebrate with the 3 in the corner. Let's see. The rest of the digits in box 9 must be 1, 4, and 5. So 5 cannot be either of these two, whereas the 5 have to be in box 9. It must be here. Because this cannot be because of the thermometer, and these can't be because of normal Sudoku. Whereas I think that means we have 8, we don't have 8 5s, but this can't be a 5. Where is the 5 in box 2? It cannot be here, it cannot be here or here, therefore it must be here. And this can't be 6 anymore because this can't, if this were 6, it would have no digit that's lower than it on the thermometer. So this can't be 6, which makes this an 8, which makes that 7, and therefore this is 6. This can't be 6. We have a 7, 8, 7, 8 pair in column 5, so that eliminates 7 and 8 from the rest of the column. Therefore, this must be a 6. So I think, okay, we still have to have 5s, right? Where is the 5 in box 6? Since we have all the 5s, we have 8 5s now, which means we know exactly where the 5 has to be, and it has to be here. Because 5 is eliminated here, and then here, and here. So therefore, this must be 5 by normal Sudoku rules. Where is the 8 in box 4? It cannot be here. Oh, and this, since this is an 8, this has to be a 9. Because the only digit that's greater than 8 in normal Sudoku is 9. So therefore, that's 9, which means this has to be 8, which means this has to be a 7. This can't be 9 anymore, which makes that a 2, which makes that a 9. This can't be 7. This can't be 8, therefore that forces this to be 9. This can't be 9. So we have a 8, 9, 8, 9 pair in row 7. That eliminates 8 and 9 from the rest of the row, which makes this a 7 and this an 8. This can't be 9 anymore, so this must be 8, which makes that a 9. That makes that a 7 by normal Sudoku, and that an 8 by normal Sudoku, which makes that 7 by normal Sudoku. And now we are just doing normal Sudoku now. This must be a 6. This has to be 1 or 2, but it can't be 2, so it must be a 1, which makes that a 2. Do we have all the 2s? We do not. But where's the last 2? We have 8 2s. This must be the 2 then. What about 1s? 1s. We know where the 1 has to be in box 9, which allows us to figure out where the 1 has to be in box 8. So this must be a 1. So that's all the 1s, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have all the 2s. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have all the 3s, right? 4s. We do not have all the 4s, though. But 4 has to be here. Because it's the only digit left now. Therefore, this can't be 4 here. So in box 6, the 4 has to be here, which means this can't be 4 in box 5. These can't be 4 because of that 4. Where's the 4 in box 5? It must be here. And then the last 4 in box 7 must be here, which makes that an 8. This can't be 8, so therefore it must be 9, as the only digits left in box 8. This must be 8. This is just all normal Sudoku now. This can't be 9 anymore, so this must be 7, because we only have 7 and 9 as possibilities, which makes that a 9. That leaves 7 to be in the last cell in column 4. Which means this can't be 7, and we only have 7 and 9 available in box 4, so this must be 9, this must be 7. We now have 8 and 9 left over in box 6. This can't be 9, so this must be 8, which makes that a 9. That leaves 8 and 6 in box 5. This can't be 6, so this is 8, and this is a 6. And that's how you solve it. It's a little bit more difficult than very easy, but not that much more. You have to use a lot of pairs that can only be 2 digits, or triplets that can only be 3 digits, or quadruples that could only be 4 digits. But yeah, the key was basically breaking in what does this number have to be, and what are the values that you can be on along this arrow. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed learning how to Sudoku, and I'll see you next time on Frank Puzzles. Take care.